Do you want to know how to actually improve your reading and writing SAT score? I'll keep it real. Just read stuff every single day. Yo, this is Pingu from Cracked, and let's talk about SAT reading. Guess how many students actually read outside of school for fun? 11%. No wonder so many students don't have the attention span to read more than 2 sentences at a time before getting bored, because you've never trained your ability to do so. The single most important takeaway from this video is that you should be reading minimum 10 to 15 minutes a day, focusing on understanding the content as well as improving your speed. So where do you find good quality stuff to read? You can grab a random book in your house, find a cool article online, I like Science News and Nat Geo, or you can head to our platform and use this tool at crack.it/reading. It lets you generate a passage on any topic that interests you, and it'll make 10 questions that you can use to test your reading comprehension. Alright, now that I've heavily emphasized the importance of reading daily, let's talk strategies on how to approach SAT reading problems. Please note, this won't cover grammar. That will be covered in another video, so be sure to subscribe to get updated for that one. Central ideas and details. These questions come in the form of, based on the text, what can be concluded about, what choice best states the main idea of the text, and a couple more formats, but it's basically testing you on whether you can identify what the passage is really about and pull out key supporting information. The strategy here is distinguishing between the main idea and supporting details. The main idea is the author's central point, what they're really trying to communicate across the entire passage. Supporting details are the specific examples, evidence, or explanations that back up that main point. So when tackling main idea questions, avoid answers that are too narrow. These usually focus on just one example from the passage. Also, watch out for answers that are too broad. These go beyond what the passage actually discusses. The correct answer should capture the author's primary focus without being hyper-specific or overly general. One tip is to ask yourself, what is the author really trying to tell me? Forget all the examples and details. What's the core message they want me to understand? And this will help you get to the answer. Inferences. These come in the form, which choice most logically completes the text. This is a section that many students really struggle on, so let's go over some strategies. Stay close to the text. Strong inferences are typically just one small logical step away from what's explicitly stated. If the passage says, sales dropped 40% after the new policy was implemented, you can reasonably infer the policy had a negative impact on business, but you can't assume the company went bankrupt or that all employees were fired. Don't over-infer from the limited data you're given. Look for cause and effect relationships. Pay attention to timing, sequence, and context clues that suggest how different elements relate to each other. Eliminate extreme answers. Inference questions rarely have answers with absolute language like always, never, all, or none. Test your inference against the passage. Before selecting an answer, mentally ask, could I defend this choice using specific evidence from the text? If you can't point to supporting details, it's probably not the right inference. Command of evidence. These come in the form, which finding, if true, would most directly support the researcher's hypothesis, or which choice best describes data from the graph that weakens the team's hypothesis. Note that these type of problems can be accompanied by other charts or tables. Always read the passage and question before the table. Sometimes you'll go back and forth between the passage and table, but it is very, very important to know the context before understanding the data provided. Look for keywords in the question. Is it asking for support or to weaken? This distinction is important. Identify the specific hypothesis or claim before looking at data. Pinpoint exactly what theory, prediction, or conclusion the researchers made. Oftentimes, the passage will present multiple ideas, but the question will only focus on one specific claim. Highlight or mentally note this claim that you find. Text structure and purpose. These come in the form, which choice best describes the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole? What choice best describes the main purpose of the text? For underlined text questions, think about the why behind each element. When you see an underlined sentence, question, or paragraph, ask yourself, why did the author include this here? What job is it doing? The answer choices will typically describe functions like providing supporting evidence, acknowledging a limitation, shifting to a new aspect of the topic, emphasizing the significance of an idea. And for main purpose questions, read with the author's intent in mind. Ask yourself, what is the author trying to accomplish here? Are they trying to convince you of something, teach you about a topic, or critique an existing idea? The main purpose encompasses the entire passage, not just individual sentences. Cross-text connections. These have questions about relationships between two texts in the form, based on the text, how would author 1 most likely respond to something discussed by author 2? Identify each author's core position first. Before attempting to predict how one author would respond to another, make sure you clearly understand what each author believes about the topic. Summarize their main argument or stance in your own words. You can't predict the response if you're unclear about either author's perspective. Look for direct agreements, disagreements, or slight differences. The authors might completely agree, completely disagree, or have subtle differences in their approaches. Pay attention to areas where they might share common ground, but differ in their conclusions, methods, or emphasis. The correct answer will accurately reflect the specific nature of their relationship, not just assume that they're opposites. Rhetorical synthesis. These are the questions that you see at the end of both the reading and writing modules and involve student notes. The questions have the form, which choice most effectively uses relevant information from the notes to accomplish this goal? Match the information to the specific goal. The question will always state a clear goal, like emphasize the significance of the discovery or acknowledge a limitation of the study. Don't just look for accurate information from the notes. Look for information that directly serves that particular purpose. The same fact might be relevant for one goal but irrelevant for another. Use only what's provided in the notes. Resist the urge to add outside knowledge or make connections that aren't explicitly supported by the given notes. The correct answer will combine or synthesize information that's actually present in the student's research, not information you think should be included. In a time crunch, just read the answer choices and compare with the notes quickly. Oftentimes, wrong answer choices aren't even mentioned in the notes and can immediately be crossed out. Transitions. These come in the form, which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? Understand the relationship between ideas. Before looking at answer choices, determine what type of connection exists between the sentences. Are they showing contrast, cause and effect, similarity, or adding information? The transition word must accurately reflect this logical relationship. Read what comes before and after the blank. Don't just focus on the sentence with the transition. Look at the broader context. Sometimes the relationship isn't obvious until you see how the transition connects a larger chain of reasoning or shifts the direction of the argument. The right transition should create a smooth, logical flow from one idea to the next. And that covers all the SAT reading topics tested. It's important to get familiar with all question types and formats that show up, but you can't just solely practice problems without improving your reading comprehension and speed, which can be done just by reading daily. Many avid readers score very high on the reading section without ever doing SAT prep, so be sure to build this habit well before your exam date. If you found this video helpful and are looking for more SAT content, head on over to our site at cracked.it. We got video courses on all topics including English, math, and Desmos, which is actually super important, and a ton of other tools, so be sure to check it out. Good luck in your prep. See you later.